to Rocky Mountain Prepper. I'm Bellum. Today we're going to be discussing how you determine what to prepare for. There are many ways to do it. Mostly they're educated guesses. So, the method that I prefer to use is I write the stuff out. Or in today's case, my daughter drew out most of the stuff. But you write it out from the worst case that's unsurvivable down to the more or less an inconvenience. So let's begin with this. First thing we got is the sun dying. Nothing we can really do about that. There's no way to stop it. It will eventually die. And the only way to survive it is to colonize another star system. We can't do that right now, so why worry about it? After that is nuclear war. It is technically survivable, but you have to be away from all the major cities and any military installations and nuclear missile silos. Alright, so it's survivable. You have to stay inside in a bunker type situation for 30 days before you can travel. It's not... A full nuclear exchange is not unsurvivable, but at the same time it's not a situation that any of us should ever hope for. Last thing up here is an electromagnetic event. These are solar storms and an EMP bomb, an electromagnetic pulse bomb. The electromagnetic pulse we've studied extensively. The United States was the first to use one. We tested it by detonating a nuclear weapon above our atmosphere. I'm not going to say how high because I don't know who's watching. And I don't want to give any ideas. But it was detonated in the South Pacific, or above the South Pacific, and 900 miles away, it knocked out the power grid in Hawaii. So we know from this information that if you detonated an electromagnetic pulse bomb above our atmosphere, over the central United States, it will wipe out all the power in the continental United States. It's such an actual threat that the United States military in the 70s, all the branches sent their best engineers and scientists together, and they started working on what is known as the Emp Commission. In 2004, they submitted their findings to Congress. You can find this online. What it basically boils down to is if we got hit by an EMP, it would take 10 years for us to build up to where we are now. To rebuild. That's with the help of other countries, and it's not going to be pretty. According to them, we would lose 90% of our population. Most cars would still work, but you wouldn't have key things. You wouldn't have water, fuel, power. So you wouldn't be going for very long. The next part of this category, which I'm stopping at because it's the worst case that's survivable in electromagnetic events. Electromagnetic events happen. The next one is the next half of the electromagnetic events is a solar storm. In 1859, the Earth was hit by a coronal mass ejection that has become known as the Carrington event. It destroyed the telegraph system all across America, Europe, and Asia. The telegraph lines got so hot that they caused forest fires. at the beginning of the 2-day event, telegraph operators had unhooked their batteries because they were battery powered back then, and they were just talking well into the night without any battery power, just off of the electricity going into the lines. And these telegraphs ended up causing forest fires and setting buildings on fire because the copper lines became white hot and melted from so much energy coming in. That was an estimated X15 flare. It's estimated that if we got hit with one of those or stronger, it would wipe out all of our power grid. Now, without the power grid, you have no water, you have no fuel, and also you have no natural gas, meaning no heat. And if you put all those together, you have death for most of the population. This is a nightmare scenario. NASA has said that it's not a matter of if, but when we get hit by an X flare or a CME magnitude greater than X20, which they calculate it like with earthquakes. Each number in the in the level of X is an order of magnitude greater, a massive order of magnitude greater. It's not just double, it's not triple, it's somewhere north of 10 times or more powerful. Now, without the water running, you don't have drinking water, but also you don't have sewage removal. Your toilets don't work. I know, you're saying, but my town has a big water tower. Most towns do. That's only used to keep the pressure high. Without the pumps to get the water into the tower, you have no water. You could be saying, but I've got a well. That's wonderful. You need a solar backup that's not hooked up, that's stored in a Faraday cage. Otherwise, you have no power because you are dependent on electricity to get your water out of the ground. You could also have a hand pump to the well. Great. It's going to be a lot of work to get a single gallon of water. But then you don't rely on anything but what you're growing to provide your water. Without fuel, you can't have anything in the stores. Long gone are the days where stores warehoused and back. They don't store anything back there anymore. It's basically they bring in the truck, they move the pallet into the back area off the truck, unpack the pallet, take it out right away. It's the just-in-time delivery system, and if the trucks can't move because they have no fuel, the stores will run out of food very quickly. Evidence of this is if you've ever looked at the grocery store after the government says that there's a hurricane coming, or if there's a blizzard coming and everyone hears about a blizzard, everybody goes to the store to buy their supply, to buy food. Well, guess what? The store gets empty, and until a truck comes, it stays empty. Without the fuel, you don't have your trucks running to bring that food in, and you run out of food in the grocery stores very quickly. All other stores as well, not just grocery stores, but because everyone's going to be wanting to get everything they can. Just like the stupid people do, anytime there's a hurricane, they start rioting and looting. Not a good idea. If it's getting that bad, it's time to bug out. Get the hell out of there. Natural gas. Yeah, we pump it out of the ground. It's under pressure underground. What comes through your pipes is actually liquefied natural gas. Liquefied natural gas has to be compressed. There are big compressor stations for the liquid natural gas, for liquefied natural gas. And then it's pumped to wherever it needs to go. Without electrical power, these things stop working. There may be enough pressure in the lines for you to have a little bit of heat for an hour or two. But if you need heat, everyone else needs heat, and it's going away very quickly. If you're bugging in, which is a choice you have to decide, whether to bug in or bug out, we'll get to that in a different video. But if you bug in, you have to have alternative heat. And it puts a target on your back. Because everyone will smell the smoke. And know you've got some resources of some form. We don't want them to know that. So most people will die, especially if it happens close to or during winter. So without these 3 items, you die. Because you need food, water, shelter, and a means of self-defense. Shelter also does include heat and fire. I am going to be teaching you all of these things. I will be instructing you how to make fire, how to make tools primitive, and how to use modern tools. I will be teaching you how to hunt, fish, garden. You need to start all these things now so you get good at them before times get hard. Before the storm comes. Before the proverbial shit hits the fan. Or SHTF, as people say. Or without rule of law. There's a lot of different acronyms for the same thing. Our society collapsing. It's coming. No society has lasted forever. Babylon fell, Persia fell, the Mongolian Empire fell, the Chinese empires have risen and fallen, Greece, Rome, the British Empire collapsed. The Germans tried to have an empire, they called it their 1,000-year Reich, didn't work out so much for them. The Russian Empire, also known as the Soviet Union, that kind of collapsed. All civilizations collapse eventually. What is up to us is to be able to protect the people by having our own supplies so that we can help others when the worst happens. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this program, please like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time. God bless.